My boyfriend M29 of 1 year broke up with me F24 over things that happened in my life before I even met him. Can someone help me understand this? Suppose I am writing this to try and understand my feelings and thoughts better. I am constantly conflicted about whether I am a bad person or not. A 24-year-old female met him a 29-year-old, let's call him Liam, last year while I was on a 3-month summer holiday in America with my 2 best friends in 2023. A little bit of context. I had been with a previous boyfriend, 23, let's call him James, for 3 years before we broke up start of 2021. We had been best friends for many years, went to school together, and after both ending toxic relationships, we began to date. I was in that toxic relationship with now 25-year-old Tom for less than 2 years. He had cheated on me 5 times that I know of. I had been 17 when we started seeing each other. He had really bad mental health issues, and I remember spending my last year of school visiting him in a psych ward. He was diagnosed with psychosis and bipolar disorder. He lived with me for a little while here and there due to his bad home life. I ended things with Tom the second I found out, but I still felt a lot of guilt. I was so young, I didn't know any better. The breakup with James had traumatized me. We were constantly sleeping with each other because I was still so madly in love with him, whilst he took advantage of that. James has been in my friend group, so I would always know who he's seeing, or I'd even see him flirt with girls right in front of me. I felt like I was going insane then. He was always around. Having the same friend group made it very difficult for me to get over him. I had done some pretty awful things whilst navigating this breakup for 2 years. One of the horrible things was that I slept with James whilst I had gone on dates with a different guy that all my friends started hanging out with. We had gone on 2 dates, and after one night out, I had slept with him, but I realized I didn't like him. Before saying anything to him, I had slept with my ex James. I know that it was a nasty thing to do, but at that stage, I felt desperate for James to fall back in love with me. I think I would have done anything for him. Around that time, I was definitely over-sexualizing myself, posting revealing photos, and had like 2 one-night stands. Just overall, I had been desperate for any kind of emotion from James. Anger, hatred, anything. The reason why any of this has relevance to current times is when I met Liam, I thought we would be a summer fling. We met at the bar I worked in New York. He was friends with the bartender whilst I was a little hostess trying to survive a summer in the big city. Coming from rural Ireland, it was more than anything I have ever experienced. A complete culture shock. Liam is Irish, he's funny, witty, good-looking and fun. I got on with him so quickly. I never experienced something like that before. So we slept with each other the very first night. I didn't really think I'd ever hear from him again. But I did. I wasn't looking for love. I didn't want to be in love. This is the summer for a long time when I wasn't sad and felt completely over my previous relationship. Liam and I spent most days together. We became very close, but I knew I had to go home by the end of August, so I suppose I never saw it going anywhere. I opened but to him about everything, the heartbreak I went through, the horrible things I did whilst going through that. I didn't care what he'd think of me. I'd never see him again. But I stayed on in New York. We decided to give this a go because it was very clear that our feelings for each other were genuine. I basically started living with him, but due to my visa, my 6 months were up, and I had to go home by the start of November. But at that stage, things had gotten very serious. He came home for Christmas, where I met his family and he met my mother. We agreed to live together when I was back in New York. I genuinely fell in love with Liam. He cared so much about me. I could talk to him about everything. Liam didn't understand how I was so indifferent about my exes, how I don't hate them, but to me, hatred means still caring. Whilst I don't feel anything towards them, he doesn't like how they be around sometimes, not because he doesn't trust me as he would say, but rather because he doesn't trust them. Even though one of them has a new girlfriend, me and her get along quite well. Liam doesn't like the clothes I wore. I often refrained from wearing bras, they never felt comfortable to me. He hated knowing everything that I had done in the past, so we fought about it a lot. But he said he'll try to get over them things because I was making changes to make sure he was comfortable. I deleted any photos that were revealing. I began to wear bras. I think overall, I realized that I do not need to sexualize myself to feel good about myself. It took me a long time to feel confident, and not hate everything about myself. I was so young making decisions that I regret now. But looking back on it now, I think he had already made up his mind about me. So when I came back to New York in January, things were hard. I thought it was just his mental health, but I think he was dealing with the fact that he actually, deep down, resents me and thinks horrible things of me. He admitted when we had our FaceTime closure phone call that he found it difficult being with me when I first came back due to all the things he knew about me. From what I can understand, he more or less thinks that I am a... He said if my father was present that I would have never done the things I did. But that is such an unfair comment to make. My dad is not part of my life, he isn't a good man. But that didn't last long, we had worked things out, and before I knew it, we were back to being so loved up again. We lived together, traveled America together, and planned our lives around each other. I had never felt so loved, so seen, and so secure with a man before. I genuinely felt like Liam could be the one. I finally understood that being with James was not what I wanted. I never felt fulfilled. But Liam had taken care of me like no one had before. The 6 months I spent with Liam were amazing. We're very in love. We did everything together, and even though the visa situation was bad, I was planning on going home in July and either coming back on an internship or an F1 visa. But since I got home in July, I have been waiting to apply for school so I can come back to him soon. He has broken up with me. He said he could not get over the things that I did, the revealing photos I had up, the exes, the fact I lost my virginity so early, the fact Tom lived in my home house with me whilst we were so young, all the things I opened up to him about he used against me. Although I understand, he says he doesn't see a future with me because what if one of his friends ever saw that photo I posted on my VSCO on our wedding? We live only 30 minutes away from each other back in Ireland. Which seems so bizarre to me. I find that his head often gets to him, and he spirals thinking of so many scenarios that are completely unlikely. They weren't naked photos or anything like that. I posted photos back in 20,212,022 that I would never post now on VSCO. He even went on to say any girl from his school who had devil horn as their bitmoji, which is what I have had, were sluts. He admitted to thinking very horrible things of me. I had gotten a tattoo when James and I broke up on my lower back. I mentioned to Liam that I knew it would annoy James. He said that always popped into his head when we were having. And I know people are going to wonder why I ever bothered telling him all those things. I never knew we would end up a couple. All of this happened whilst I thought we were only going to be a fling and I would never see him again by August. He said he feels ashamed of all the bad things he said to me and thinks of me. He said I deserve better. He broke up with me over a few-second phone call after we had a fight. After a few days of not contacting him, I asked for closure. We talked over FaceTime, and he admitted that he couldn't see me as the mother of his kids or his wife, that he was looking for the one. And, the one, would never have done all the things I did in my past. This really hurt me, as, in late January, Liam and I found out I was pregnant. Liam supported me through any decisions I wanted to make, but untimely, was the only right choice for me. But hearing him say he doesn't imagine the mother of his children being someone like me makes me feel a different hatred towards myself. Although I was loyal and the best girlfriend he could have asked for, and he knows that I am no longer that person, but he cannot move past it. This is what he said to me. He said that it's him that's fucked up and that insecure about all those things. That he can't move past them. But somehow, it feels like it's my fault. Liam and I spoke about being really serious about each other and feeling like this could really be something special, something long-term. A few months ago, he said he saw me as someone he could marry, have kids with, and spend his life with. He said he doesn't want to waste my time when he feels he'll bring all these things up again in a few months' time. And it'll be something he won't ever get over. There's something wrong with me that I think like that I'm that insecure I can't get over something. You're amazing and have made me feel special and helped me through some very dark times when other people would have said it wasn't worth it. You're a very special woman, and you'll always be very special to me. I'm sorry I couldn't be as understanding as you are. This is something Liam texted me that gives me hope. Am I being delusional? I have moved my whole life to New York for us, because I believed there was a big chance this could really work. I feel like I showed him how serious I am about him. It wasn't easy for me being in New York with no friends, working a job I hate, but I felt like it was worth it for us. I feel like he didn't appreciate the stuff I did just to be with him. I don't think Liam is perfect. He has his flaws, and maybe I'm too much of an optimist, but I think everything can be figured out and worked out. He smokes all the time and promises he'll stop but never really does. He's never satisfied with anything, and he sabotages a lot. Chasing something unattainable. He's constantly looking for the next thing to achieve because he thinks it'll make him happy, but it never really does. But I have always believed in him and supported him by also being honest about his bad habits. I think he is a great man with so many great qualities. Shay is very special to me. He made me feel so much in such a short amount of time. But somehow, right now, I have done nothing wrong to him. He admits that I have been his best friend and supported him through some dark times. According to the texts he sent me and told me over the phone, I am special and amazing, but he can't stop judging. How can I make sense of this? Liam admitted that he had also been in a committed relationship. Let's call her Jenny. I think she is about 2 years older than Liam, around 2 years ago. Jenny had given Liam an ultimatum: either they get engaged, or the relationship is over. Liam didn't feel ready, and ultimately, they broke up. But Jenny called Liam a few months after their breakup. As far as I'm concerned, he was going to leave America after 8 years to be with her back in Ireland, but she had found someone else. I think both me and Liam had gone through a lot when we met each other. And even though we never said it officially, I knew he loved me. Liam admitted that he wasn't really looking for anyone either when we met. We both didn't think much of his, especially since we knew it didn't really make sense knowing the visa I was on. That is why Liam also believes that whilst we might date for a few years and if things don't work out, I am still young enough to find someone else, while he thinks his time is ticking. He doesn't believe I will be ready to have kids in 4 or 5 years, yet he doesn't know when he'll be ready himself. That is why I am struggling to forgive myself. I don't know how to process this. I don't know what to think of myself. I feel so small, so worthless and unlovable. I don't know whether it is him that's fucked up or me. Obviously, there is a lot more to this story, to me and him. But these are just a few things that might help someone help me understand this situation. Although I feel regret in telling Liam everything about myself, this is who I am. Every decision I ever made me who I am today. I am an honest person. I want my significant other to know everything about me. Please don't be mean, but give an honest opinion. I would like to add that there is no contact between me and my exes. Now that I am back in Ireland in my small hometown town, there are rare times when they are in the pub, and as we have similar friends, I say hello, how are you? And that is it. There is no hanging out on a daily basis or anything like that. As I mentioned, I hang out with my girlfriends. I understand that people are questioning my relationship with them and the fact that they are in my life, but they really aren't. I have left all that behind. I feel indifferent about them. The friends I have now, I have been friends for many years, and although things have changed in the friend group, there are a few of my closest friends that stayed the same. These are the people I hang out with often, not my exes. We had a very big group of friends, therefore when things are on in our local pubs they tend to be there. I would also like to add that I understand my wrongs in this situation. If I had known how important he was going to become to me, I would have done things differently.